Welcome everyone in Arise. This is my first ever live watch list that I will be posting. I feel like it gives me more of an in-depth feel with you guys, kind of explain my thesis instead of just giving you a watch list breakdown, which I will still do. But I really think this is just better because I can actually go through the chart and tell you what I'm seeing. So I actually want to start off with ES. Now, you'll see that it's 4083 on TradingView, but if you go on normal brokers, it seems to be about 15-20 off. That is because TradingView actually rolled their futures contracts a couple days ahead of time, which throws everything off. So I have the futures chart up the most because I use it the most, but they are off right now, so I can't really use my chart. But I could still go on like brokers and like see the price and compare to my chart. But we were actually somewhere around like probably, if we're about $20 difference, we're probably somewhere around under this line if I had to guess in this area. So let's go on like the 15-minute real quick. If I had to guess, we're somewhere in this area. And what I'm thinking is we're going to have a round market open is what I would assume. Have maybe a possibly, since it is a Monday, a possible push up to this level. So what we're actually looking for is if we can break 4080 on SPX, then we have some room back to the upside to like 4100 and so on. Now, excuse me, it's really late. Same thing with the NAS. The contracts are off. Like in NAS, they're off a pretty good amount. I don't really chart NAS much, but what I'm gonna do here is zoom out and show you guys kind of like what I have charted here. So we're in a nice size downtrend. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can kind of count these and these here. They're not necessarily touches, but it shows that it's a respected level. And we actually had a nice bounce off. And I actually did not expect to bounce off here. I actually kind of expected for us to come down and touch here back in like end of June-ish, if I remember correctly. But we actually made a really good push up, and I did not expect this either. Like this was a really nice push sometime in July, right? But basically, I was really starting to watch SPX once we got about here. I remember drawing these lines and let everyone know in the chat about it that we were in this respectable downtrend. So what I'm going to actually do is go into the hourly chart and just show you guys what I saw. When I actually did, I think I was on a 15-minute chart when I charted it up. I have no idea why this is way off. But I did mess around with my charts a little earlier on different devices, so I wonder if I saved it wrong. But anyway, we actually caught bounces. So I didn't take here, but I actually took this bounce here. So it would have came down to about the third touch. And the reason I took this play right here is because it's at 4110 level. So I think I actually got in like 4112, and I think it came down to like 4108, 4110. Okay. And I actually caught it a little bounce up. I caught it back up to the yellow, which should be my 50 EMA. Now the reason I did that is because if it contests the 50 EMA, usually when it drops below, you're going to see a nice drop. So if we look here, price drops below at 50 EMA, comes down to a nice read at 42.50, bounces back. But when it tends to lose it multiple times in a row, you'll see a nice drop. So we'll see from like 42, let's just see 42.93, all the way down to like 41.50 and so on. And then you'll see when it breaks above it, we get a small push towards the top. And you'll see when it breaks it again, huge drop, huge drop, huge drop, huge drop, another one, and another one. Okay, when we get above it, necessarily you don't see as huge of a downfall, right? But you see a nice uptrend. This is actually a nice uptrend the last few days. Kind of a little weird considering the market sentiment. So I think it's a fake pump and a dump. And we're actually, this is what I've actually been looking for. So if you're in the chat, you know I've been saying this for the last, I don't even know, 2 weeks or week or so, that we're going to probably test 4080 to 4100. We break above that, we got 4150, 4120, and then if we break above those, I'm pretty much seeing 4200 and 4240. Or 4250, whatever the range is, that $10 range. With SPX, you want to give a little range because it will wick you out. And anyway, what I wanted to say was, so my future plan for SPX is actually, I think we're going to bounce off somewhere around this level. Now, if we do break 4110, 4100, this, of course, will probably pan out later on. But what I'm thinking we do is we actually reject here. Come down, maybe test the 50 EMA, maybe hover around it, kind of like right here. Do like a little hover, maybe a little another contest, and come back up to 40.40 and test that level. Once we hit about 40.40 here, I see a nice drop coming, and we're probably going to come down to about my 3,900 again. Now, this is the pivot point and the key level that I'm thinking. Now, we either break 3,900, continue down to 38.40. I'd probably say 38.50 to be safe. Or we're going to sit here, come back up and contest another 50 EMA, depending on if it's like somewhere in this area. Or we're going to come back to the high line, touch 4,000. And then continue our drop down below 3,900. Now, personally, I'm thinking, I see a lot of people talking about like we're going to hit, 3,400, 35. I don't personally think that. Because first we need to hit 3,800. And we actually need to break the 3,900. Like 3880 level. If we break 3880, I'm looking at 37.50. That to me is a level I'll be watching closely. And if you want to know why, 37.50, look right here in this area. 3800, 37.40. Just if you scroll back in the chart, you'll see that's a nice area, and there seems to be some nice congestion. So that's going to be the level I'm going to be looking for. Now, between like 37, probably 3,800 and 37.50, I'm not going to trade at all. I'm not going to take any trade. I'm going to wait for us to break that range. So then again, it comes back to what I say to Rise, the slogan I made up, only quality plays, OQP. And if we can catch this downward momentum, there's no reason we would have to overtrade and force to try and keep catching them on the way down. If we can get an entry in down to that point that we need, that's what we're looking to get. We could make some nice money doing that. And then what we can do is, depending on what it does here, it might bounce up and come back up to this line. We can take puts again. I mean, if you want to just see what the trends I have drawn out, we can go to the 4 hour. And I mean, it's a pretty clean line. Like, that's another thing what I'm saying. Like, it is possible for us to come back up, touch 4,200, because I mean, I wouldn't necessarily think, if it was me personally, I think like 4080 to 4120, right? Like that would make this look good, and then playing out what I said earlier. But it is possible to hit that 4,200, so I'm not all in on puts right now. I'm playing it pretty safe. I'm going to wait for my levels to enter. I'm not going to enter early. I'm not going to over leverage, over risk it, or do anything that I don't have to. I'm going to wait for the proper setup. If I miss it, I'll catch it below the 50 EMA on the continued way down. Back to 3,900. I'll catch it like probably below 3,950 if we continue to drop right now. The MA is probably at like 4,000 or 3,950. It'll be around that area. I'll catch that. drop below that. Sorry about the yawning. I've been up for like 34 hours straight. But that's pretty much what I see happening on SPX. And I actually wanted to pull it up on SPY here. Haven't really charted SPY much lately just because, well, I've been trading futures lately. Ooh. You can see I haven't used it. Traded looking at the SPY chart a lot. So right here again, we have room to 420. That's probably about where we would hit 422, 420. Again, 410 is what I'm thinking. One here. It's also the 200, I think. I think that's my 200. Yeah, 200's purple. Look on SPY, it would be 410. So probably by the time SPY gets up there, it'll be about 412, if I had to guess. Right? So what we need to do, we definitely don't want to break this. We want to stay in this downtrend because the market is not in a good place right now. And this artificial pumping, dumping, it's losing a lot of people money, but I don't know. What I'm thinking we got to do is, like I said, hit this level, come down. Now, let me see. Actually, like it there better. Must have had a nice wick down. Probably bounced off 420. Yep. Okay. That actually looks really good. Look at line up. Anyway, I don't know why I have to keep taking that off, the watermark. But that's what we're looking for. We're going to try to hit that. Of course, this is on a bigger scale, too. I mean, like, I'm not saying we're going to hit 420 tomorrow either. And I'm not, I'm thinking by, I'm just saying we have some room up. Like, we could hit 410 as early as tomorrow, though. But I'm thinking somewhere in the next week or two, we could possibly hit 420 on SPY. Now, what I would like is for us to hit this level here, 410, 412, and then continue our way down to, 370 to 350. If we can hit that, we can catch some nasty downward movement. Now, if we do break 420, I'm not opposed to taking calls. It's just I see downward movement in the market. So if we go up, where are we going to? Okay, well, we could hit here. Hit here. We could hit 430. There, and there. I mean, there's just so many different spots we can hit, If we break 420, the nearest spot we could probably hit is 430, 433. Or even 431, 428, and 425. 425 is probably what I would watch the most. Just because it's the closest number, but also if we do break out the amount of volume we're going to need to break to that 420 level, hit 425, we could have a nasty reject and continue our way down. I mean, look at this drop right here. 460 to 440 in what? Over the weekend. In less than a week. So that could be another one of those. Because if you see when we go up kind of steadily, but as soon as we hit a reject level, it tanks. And I don't want to get caught on that side of the moment. So we can see the momentum to the downside is a lot more than it is to the upside. So what I'm trying to do is limit myself. If you want to play it safer, you want to go for puts over calls right now. So that is my mock-up here on what I'm looking at on SPX. Anyway, I'm thinking, based off tomorrow, Monday, we'll set a good example of where we're going to see SPX go. And this morning, or tonight, because futures opened at like 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I actually already scalped like $4,700 worth. I got in and got in puts on these candles when it opened up. I actually have no idea when it opened. I think it opened around like 40.80. Probably opened like, I think it opened at 4,100. Close to that. I think that's where I got in at. And I just scalped it on the way down. And I was up 4,000. And that's what I mean. Like, some movements like futures. Reason why I switched over to futures over options is the amount of money you can make. It's, you don't have to worry about the options contracts. And you could play it based off numbers. So if I go in futures, right? Let's say I'm looking at, let's go to SPY real quick. Let's check the 5 minute. Actually, we'll check the hourly. Turn on the sniper. So, using the new SR that I made. So we get here, we reject. Next thing you know, we're below the 50 EMA. That would have been a nasty play to take. Now, can't trade SPY on futures, but the SPY and SPX move together. So, this is just an example. If I got in here, I probably would have gotten below 419 just because I wanted to get below the 50 EMA, and it did reject off 420. So that's a good thing. With the 50 there, I wouldn't have took the 420 reject because it could have bounced off 419 or 419.5, wherever the EMA was at that exact moment. I would have took it below this. Now, looking at this line, before there was some nice stuff on it, but right now, it looks like there wasn't too much that we had to worry about because it broke through a couple times at level. So we know there's probably not a lot of buyers sitting at that level. So I probably would have took it down, and I actually would have sold probably about 413. That's where I would have personally sold. I probably wouldn't have held it the whole way down to 411, 410. I would have sold probably about 413.5. So 413.5. You know, on an hour candle, that's what, $5.50 movement. It's about $10 on SPX. So that's a $55 movement. So if it's $55, calculator. So what we're gonna do is 55, and I think it's $50. So let's say I have or we ain't even gonna do that. 55 times 50. This is one futures contract right here in profit. If you held that whole $55 drop, okay. Now in options, you could probably get about $1,500, so maybe like half. But the issue where it comes in at is if that movement didn't happen quick, you're going to lose volume on the options. You got to put that upfront options money. With futures, you got leverage. Also, good thing about futures is, let's say I'm in a trade. And I will post some live videos of me trading futures probably here in the near future. But once I'm here, and let's say I'm in at 419, right? Next thing you know, the stock's at 417.8. And I'm like, well, there's two candles here. Maybe it might wick off of that, come back up. I could set my trail stop like 50 cents above the price. And what it'll do is it'll follow it down. So it's not like options where the value could be like losing premium. It could spike or do some weird stuff. It's based off the price. So if I have a take profit, I know 413.5 is where I want to take profit. I set my profit at that level, that exact number, 414.51, just above that level. And I set my stop loss. Okay, well, my new stop loss is going to be above 419.9. Well, I'm going to make a 420.2 just to be safe because it could wick. Or 420.1. Now, good thing about futures is I could set it, walk away. With options, you have to kind of calculate, and you're going to be off probably what that value of that contract's going to be. Or you're going to have to set alerts, get it, and then manually sell it. With futures, you're basically trading based off the numbers. So with me, when I do my trading, I already have numbers in mind that I know. And with the SR that we have here, it's really beneficial to trade futures. And that is because, let's take a look at ES1 again. Let's turn on the sniper. Okay. Let me find a good example. So I probably would have taken that trade but not off the hourly candle. I would have waited for this candle to close to take a call. But on the 15-minute, it would have looked totally different. We're actually on the 4 hours. So let me go to the hour real quick. So, okay, so this was actually a really good one here. I actually took this as puts. And I actually tried to get it on the MAM account, but we actually got stop lossed out. So even though this looks like a crappy touch on the hourly, on the 15-minute, that was a perfect setup to go lower. So on the candle fire, on the 5, the 15, and the hourly, and I think the 2 hour as well, it fired red. And I think I got in at like 412, 411 if I remember correctly. So I didn't get in at the very top, but I scalped the play like 417 down to 415, and then I like waited. As you see, it came up, and then once the arrow fired, I got in like 412, and I held it down to, if I remember correctly, the 5 BMA, which is this purple one. It should be the purple one. Yeah. So on that, I actually put 39.94, I think I had, but it probably hit 39.92, 39.90, whatever. But, you know, let's just say 10 to 95, okay? You're looking at least $15 to $17 move there. Well, again, 17 times 2 times 50, because let's say I had 2 contracts. That's $1,700. Okay, now if I got in here at 413, 412, and let's say my stop loss was above 420. Okay, so you could have made $1,700 profit. Now, we're going to go back here. We're going to put our wick at 420. So, 40-20, I got in at 12. So let's say 8. So 16, right? 16 times 50. So 800. So we had a 2 to 1, a little bit over 2 to 1. So we had like a 2.1 to 1 risk reward ratio. So personally, I actually like that, and I actually took that exact trade, and that is why. I know it was over 2 or like at least 1.7 after fees, but at least the setup I took, you actually could have took it a lot longer. But again, like this is just stuff you got to use, and like with the new support and resistance that I actually released, it actually works really well because you'll see at key levels. Like it pretty much charts key levels for you, and if you really wanted to, let me just go on the hourly real quick. Turn off the sniper. Let me put this on like 15. You should see a whole bunch of new. Just look at the 5-minute real quick. So you'll see all that. Waiting for it to load. You'll see a whole bunch more stuff kick in, whether it's above or below. But what I personally like to do is, let's say we're looking at SPY right here. On the 15, you'll see there's not many lines, right? There's a few lines. But what I would do, you can actually lower it. What that does is it gets, with the new SR that I made, it'll actually delete and add lines. So now let's put 15 just because. See, it'll add more lines to watch, more key level lines. Now what you could do is actually, I think between 10 and 8 is the best. So let's just go with 10. you actually see the lines move. You want to just hold this here. So the less you have, the more accurate they're going to be, more key levels. The more you have is more recent. So let's say I put that. You see, there wasn't too much touching here at this level, but it adds all this in, which is another good thing. So if I want to scalp, let me go to the 1 minute real quick. Just to give you an example. Got the sniper working. And put this to 15. It actually has one key level up here, which is 410. You'll see all the lines that we have down, room down. Now all I have to do is if I want to go lower, you see all those lines disappear. And you'll see it's more accurate. So, okay, next thing I want to watch is, I'm really going to watch this level because it's thicker, right? So the thicker the line, the more resistance and support at that level. So here, you want to be wary at that level, but it's probably not going to bounce as hard as it will on this level. This is a level you really want to watch. This is just a level that maybe you might want to get out, and then you could get back in if it breaks below it. That's what I do. So personally, if I get in, let's say I got in under the sniper right here, 407. Probably would have got in under 406.8 because there's a line here. Wrote it down. And if it broke this level, and I was still in the trade, I would probably sell right here. I would sell above it, so 406.5 if I want to be safe. And now remember, this is on the minute chart, so like, this is like, when you could scalp this on SPX. It'd probably be hard options wise, but you get what I'm trying to say. We're probably going to come down and touch this level again, or you would have bounced here if you wanted to keep the uptrend. But if we're on the 5 minute, you probably want to come down and touch this level. Probably 406.3 is what you want to watch. Let's get back to the 1 minute. 406.4. So I'd actually probably want to watch 406.28, 406.2, and 406. So if we go back on the 1 minute chart, 406.5 to 406.1. Wait for it to load. Like I said, it works really well with the sniper. So this is actually showing when we have room down, but we also have room up. So the question becomes there is, do you take a trade or do you wait? So when in doubt, go to a longer time frame and zoom out. Okay. Me personally, I probably wouldn't take a trade below, unless it's below. If it hits 410, I probably would take a reject. If it bounces off 401, I'd probably take a call. But then I would go to my ES. See, this is the chart that I actually have charted out. So based off of what I have charted, I wouldn't take a play. I'd wait for the indicator. But if I go on ES, based off of what I've said on ES, is what I would actually trade because I have the trade charted out. I know how it moves. I'm more familiar with, been watching it every day. That's how I know when I'm going to trade. So we're looking at a downtrend. So personally, I would trade puts. But based off of what I see now, I wouldn't take anything. So we go on the daily, because on the daily, it looks like we're going to push up to 410. If not, probably going to touch 418, Remember, we still have that room to 420. So we want to watch what we get into. Anyway, that has been my analysis. It's been long enough, I think. Been a little too long if you ask me. But, I was having trouble getting my thoughts out, being tired. But I just wanted to get this out, let you guys know. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm seeing. And have a good one.